Yo guys, welcome back. But yeah, it's currently 1:44 p.m. Um, yeah, I had a pretty good sleep today. I woke up at like 11 a.m. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today. Slept pretty well. And yeah, it's finally Saturday today. Um, but yeah, but like I'm probably gonna make this or I'll upload this video probably like another day. So but I'm making this video on a Saturday, so yeah. So if you're confused why, like, I'm saying it's Saturday but it's another day of the week, that's just because I will upload the video later. But yeah, my cat is in the room, so if you hear my cat meowing, she's with me. She's like jumping right now. But yeah. I'm pretty hungry, so I'm probably gonna have some lunch pretty soon. Probably right when I finish this video, I'm gonna have lunch. But anyways, guys, so in this video, I wanted to rant about drugs. And yeah, just how horrible drugs are. And yeah, this should be a pretty interesting video because I've actually never made a YouTube video, talking about any narcotics or like any drugs at all. But yeah, so this should be a pretty interesting video. My cat keeps like jumping on my chair. But yeah, so drugs, yeah, drugs can be really horrible, very messed up, but drugs can mean many things. So like when we're talking about drugs, drugs can, be completely different. They can mean a lot of things. Because if we're talking about like specifically medical drugs, like prescription drugs, those are okay. Like obviously those are completely fine, because drugs are often used for medical purpose, like, and in that situation it's completely fine. Everyone has done drugs before, doctors, they might prescribe you drugs. Like let's just say you have like maybe really bad muscle pain, your doctor might prescribe you, prescription drugs, and then you take it and then the pain goes away. So yeah, those types of drugs are fine. Or maybe you take pills to relieve your, migraine pain, like if you have like maybe a headache or other things. Yeah, you take those pills and then the pain goes away. Those are technically all considered drugs, but they're used for like medical purpose, and that's completely fine, or you might just use them to, or like Tylenol is a drug, so those types of drugs, either prescription drugs or any drug to help you relieve pain, those are fine, or like for example marijuana, well, it is considered a drug, but like I've consumed marijuana before, and like marijuana is like, where I live it's completely legal here. And marijuana, it's like, yeah, it is considered a drug, but it's a safe drug. It's a drug that, can kill you. Like, you can't die from, consuming marijuana. But yeah, like where I live, because I'm from Canada, and marijuana is completely legal in Canada, so it's like, it's fine to do it, like smoking, like weed is just like, it's your own personal choice, and there's nothing wrong with doing it, like if you want to do it, but just as long as like where you live it's legal. Like I know like in like the USA, for example, like many states marijuana is completely legal. Some states it's illegal, but from what I know, it feels like most states have legalized marijuana, but there's still some states where it's illegal. Like I did go to like North Dakota, for example, a couple of years ago, and it's completely like illegal there. Well, mostly, but some states, even if it's illegal, it might be legal for medical purpose, like medical marijuana. But then, like some states, it's like, yeah, so it's only legal medically, but recreational marijuana is illegal, and you can get arrested for that. But it's crazy. Like some states, it's completely legal, but then if you go to another state, it's illegal. But then if you're using it for medical purpose, it may be legal in some states. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Um, But yeah, I personally would advise like don't consume marijuana if it's illegal where you are located. But yeah, but if it's legal where you are, then that's your personal choice, and if you want to do it, that's fine. Um, but yeah, like alcohol, for example, is also considered like a drug, pretty much. Although the thing with alcohol is that it's mostly accepted like all over the world. It's basically like a drug that's like completely socially accepted, and it's like a legal drug, like almost the entire world allows alcohol, consumption and selling alcohol. Um Unless if it's like like a Islamic country. Yeah. My cat is like still on the chair. Cat, I'll help her get off. But yeah, but like, sorry guys, my cat was just jumping on the chair. I'll just let her out. But yeah, but as I was saying, so like marijuana, or sorry, alcohol is mostly legal, but in some Islamic countries, like Muslim countries, it might be like illegal there. Um, but again, that depends because not all Muslim countries are, like against alcohol being consumed. Like some countries in the Middle East, it's completely legal to consume alcohol. Like Saudi Arabia, it's illegal, for example. But yeah, but like, or marijuana, for example, like there's some countries where it might be illegal, but if you like are caught with it, it's like they might be pretty like lenient there, and like you might only get like a fine for doing it. But then there's some countries where they view marijuana as like a very like bad drug, and you might get 8 years in prison just for consuming it. Especially totalitarian countries, where they have a really strict regime. Those countries, yeah, they're very strict with that type of stuff. So it all depends on where you are. But yeah, like alcohol, for example, I drink alcohol. I actually like alcohol quite a lot. I drink like beer, especially. But yeah, but like alcohol is like, as long as you drink responsibly, you're not an alcoholic, then you're good, like, or same with marijuana. Like, I think like consuming too much of anything can be like bad. So like, I think like, you can still do it frequently sometimes or in moderation. But like, I do think like drinking alcohol every single day is bad for you because you can become an alcoholic, or marijuana, smoking weed like every day. Well, some people do that and that's fine, as long as it's not affecting you. Like, but like if you're someone who's like smoking every like hour, then I don't know, like some people they might not care. Some people they might like have productivity problems, they're gonna be really lazy, but every person's different. But I personally would think like it's best to like if you do that stuff like try to like not do it too much because too much of everything is not good. But yeah, but anyway, so I want to talk about hard drugs now because yeah, like what I said about weed and alcohol, they might be labeled as drugs, but those drugs are like mostly accepted in society, and they're fine mostly. Alcohol, however, like is proven to be dangerous. If you like drink like very large amounts, you can die from it. But yeah, but like psychedelics, for example, like some psychedelics, like they're not like as dangerous or what. Like from what I know, most psychedelics they're like not that like dangerous. But again, I'm not a drug expert. I don't know much about drugs. So if I do make some mistakes, you can correct me. But like psychedelics, I mean, they're illegal mostly. Some states have decriminalized psychedelics, but like in Canada, they're illegal, for example. And I'm sure like other places in America, it's illegal too. I think most states it's completely illegal, but yeah, psychedelics, while they're not like proven to be like necessarily dangerous, they're still like pretty crazy because like when you take psychedelics, for example, they might like increase your blood pressure, your heart rate. You might have panic attacks from taking psychedelics. So they still might have like negative impacts on you. But then there's some psychedelics that are like really fucked up, that are really scary. Like, for example, salvia or DMT. Like, those drugs are like really creepy as fuck. Like, they're scary, but it depends because not everyone experiences fear when they consume those drugs. Like, some people might hallucinate from psychedelics and they might feel good, they might feel happy, but then other people, they might take a really bad trip and they might be terrified of the effects. Like, some people have smoked DMT, for example, and they experienced one of the most terrifying hallucinations ever. Like, they might see stuff that's like, like first they smoke DMT and they might feel like, they might feel good at first, but then like they might be aware and self-conscious that they're high, but then once the drug kicks in, they start to like see really creepy shit, and up to this point they don't even know that they're high anymore. They think that it's actually happening in real life. And then some people, they consume DMT and they got so high to the point where they completely didn't even remember who they are. They don't even remember their name. All their memories are completely erased. They don't even remember who they are. It's like they're being reborn, and then they see themselves entering like a different realm, like as if they're leaving planet Earth and then they're in another dimension, and it's absolutely terrifying. They'll see demons there. One person smoked DMT and he like even thought that he's like, he's not in the current year, 2025. He thought he's in 2012, and he actually believed it. And he was really sad that he's like, he has to live those 13 years to get back to his current time. But yeah, some people might see really terrifying hallucinations, and but it all depends, because like I said, DMT might like, you might see good things. You might like see something that'll make you happy or cheerful. But some people have really bad, trips like that. But yeah, or salvia. Like, I've heard stories like someone, consumed salvia, for example, and when they took salvia, they saw themselves as a tree. And then, I don't know, someone said they took salvia. Like, I saw this like on a YouTube comment that someone took salvia and then they like basically like lived their life as a tree for 3,000 years. The hallucination was only like the drugs wore off in like 10 minutes or maybe a little bit more. So like it wasn't a long trip. It was, in real life, it was only like 12 minutes, but he said that he lived as a tree for 3,000 years, and it actually felt like 3,000 years. Like it actually felt like he had to live every year until it reached 3,000 years. That it was the most longest experience he's ever had in his life. But I don't know, but I'm kind of like skeptical about that, because like it kind of sounds fake. Like, how can you like experience life as a tree and it actually feels like a real 3,000 years? That just seems kind of unrealistic. But I mean, he does make a good point. Like, I do kind of agree, like, somewhat about that. Definitely those trips, even if they're short, they might feel really long. But yeah, but overall, guys, I'm just really happy to say that I've never done drugs. Like, besides marijuana and alcohol, I've never done drugs outside of that. So that's really good. But yeah, like, because I personally like psychedelics, it's something I never want to try, because like, for one, it's illegal. I don't want to ever risk doing it. And for two is because like I don't want to experience those creepy hallucinations that could traumatize you. And yeah, it's just scary, I personally wouldn't do it. Even if I experience something good, it's just, I don't want to have like, like high blood pressure from it, or, have a fast heartbeat, because that's not good for you. But yeah, but then there's drugs like ecstasy, for example, which is also messed up, because ecstasy might make you feel good. But one guy died from ecstasy because ecstasy makes you really dehydrated. And like, when you get dehydrated, well, here's the thing: he got dehydrated, but then when the ecstasy was wearing off, he kept taking it, and then Yeah, he just kept taking ecstasy. It was wearing off, and then once it was wearing off, he kept consuming it, and then he ended up like, you know, having a trip for like 3 days or whatever. Well, I don't know how ecstasy works. It's probably not the same as psychedelics, but the point is he was high, or he was under the influence of ecstasy, and so he was like he kept like consuming it even when it was wearing off. And he got so dehydrated and he wasn't drinking water, and then he just died because he was not getting enough, you know, water. And lastly, let's talk about like drugs like cocaine, meth, heroin. Those drugs are extremely fucked up. Some people are so crazy that once they get hooked on drugs, they're so addicted that they kill their own family just to take their money to get more drugs. Some drugs do that. It's really fucked up. Cocaine can completely fuck up your life completely. Or, like people who like smoke crystal meth, for example, or they take drugs like methamphetamine. They completely like their teeth become really black, like their teeth get rotten. They have like a bunch of cavities, and then their teeth like completely rot. Or they have like these spots on their skin. Their skin becomes really like gross. They have all these disgusting spots on their skin, and that also happens if you take meth. But yeah, it's crazy. Drugs like that can like completely ruin your entire life. It's fucked up. Like, yeah, drugs like that can just completely ruin your whole life. They'll ruin your relationships with people. There's a good chance you'll overdose and die if you don't get help. Heroin is really bad, but fentanyl is proven to be like 200 times worse than heroin. And fentanyl is like even a problem where I live in my province here in Canada, and people have died from fentanyl. Yeah, fentanyl is like so bad to the point where you'll die. Like psychedelics, for example, it's not really something you can get addicted to, from what I know. But drugs like, cocaine, or like meth, you can easily get addicted to. And then once you're addicted, it'll be really hard to quit. And, like, I'm completely not gonna judge people at all. Like, if you're someone who, has done hard drugs, like, all I can say is, like, if you're sober now, I'm really happy for you. Or if you're, like, still dealing with that, I highly recommend, like, talk to someone you're close with and get help before it kills you. But yeah, it's crazy. Some people even use medical drugs just for fun. Like some people make lean, which lean is basically when you mix cough syrup with like soda and you drink it. That is technically a drug. And some people use like pharmaceuticals just for fun, just because it feels good, not for medical purpose, but because they just want to do it for fun. And yeah, that's also taking drugs basically, like because you're using it for fun. But yeah, so drugs are just really fucked up, and I've never done drugs, thank goodness. I've never done drugs.